Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakah Kwadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great stone, and salutations to all you sincere Akiam. And this is your brother Bawan back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakah Kwadash. All praises and glory is due. And yeah, and basically what this video is going to be about is just me bemoaning, or not really bemoaning, because we already know through prophecy, right, that there is no more wisdom in the earth. Okay, and what I mean by that is that all right, just something that recently happened. So let me see if I can go to the YouTube real quick, because that's where I'll get the information. So basically, I just started playing this mobile game, right? And the name of the game is Black Beacon. Let me get that. Let me get that. All right, Black Beacon. And just a little mobile game, like just to play, just to pass the time.
Black
Okay,
Beacon has been.
and I'll just here it is. So
Have
this
you
is
ever heard the legend of the tower that
how the trailer looks, and basically what the game is based on is just some sci-fi stuff, right? So it has a few historical references here and there if you can pick it up. So where the story begins is going through different things that happened in history, right, in the Middle East. So of course, there's going to be a lot of scriptural references, specifically starting with the Tower of Babel. Okay, and you already know about the story of the Tower of Babel. So in this story, of course, in this story you have, as you can clearly see, hold on, let me just this is an ad. Let me just
and satisfy your cravings. Global order anything we deliver in minutes.
is it time to put an end to this?
Now, of course, this video is still subject to copyright. I'll still put that disclaimer at the front of the video. But if you also go through the video, I don't really want to play too much of the video. But if you go through the video, you see that most of the characters, that they're not only do they look like Edomites, right? Which of course that's its own thing. But what I'm focused on is rather with the mixture of this game and the video that I just did recently, right? So let's go to that. Let's go to that. And this is the video I just did recently. False miracles done by Esau Edom, when Esau claims that he has resurrected, quote unquote resurrected, an extinct species of wolf called the dire wolf, which of course the jury is still out on that one. Okay, and what I mean by that is that of course Esau did not actually resurrect it, but just created a bigger version of the grey wolf, which is an already existing wolf, and painted the fur white, right? But this is just me speaking as a man, man. But I believe that the dire wolf isn't actually a different species of wolf. It's most likely just the same as the grey, just most likely just a bigger grey wolf, because as we already know in the scriptures, everything, right, is decreasing in stature, which is actually funny, because this is the same thing that you see with the evolution argument, right? So let me just get this precept first. That is in the book of Second Esdras, that everything is decreasing in stature, right? Because let's get that. So this is the book of Second Esdras 5, verse 51. He answered me and said, Ask a woman that beareth children, and she will tell thee. Say unto her, Wherefore are unto thee whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature, right? So what you'll find out is that there is no evolution. Okay, even evolution in and of itself is not evolution, but realistically what it is more of a devolution. And the reason why this evolution is happening is because of the wickedness, right, the sin and iniquity that is on the earth. So Esau will say that, oh well, this animal evolved to have this attribute to them, right? Or this animal migrated from this part of the world and moved to this part of the world and now evolved to. That's not what happens. Okay, there is no evolution. All these things that Esau is attributing to evolution is just simply changing, right? Just simply a change in environment, and that isn't evolution. Okay, and let's just to show what I'm talking about, let's go and get the dictionary definition of evolution. This is more of a rant video than an actual video, right? But it's still going to be edifying, of course, because basically the title of this video is that there is no truth on the earth, right? There is no truth, no wisdom in the earth. And let's get that precept. Let's get that precept, right? Let's get that precept. Wisdom departed from Timan. Because one thing you have to understand, man, and this is just something that I've been meditating on for a while, but I'm starting to lose trust in any of Esau's sciences, man. So this is the book of Jeremiah 49 verse 7. Jeremiah 49 verse 7. Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Right? And the wisdom of Esau, Edom, you're now finding out that, because the more you dig into, science and try to increase your understanding, the more you realize that it's just plain foolishness. Because first and foremost, it gets to a point where all the explanations and the math involved in it, right? The calculations become so advanced that unless you actually dedicate yourself to studying it, you will not be able to understand it. And even other people that you try to inquire concerning it, like, oh well, what about this? What about this? Even they won't be able to give you any definitive answer concerning this, right? Because one person will come out and say one thing, another person will come out and say another thing. And let me give an example of what I'm talking about. So this is the law of conservation of energy, right? And it's funny because this law of conservation of energy was actually developed by Einstein, right? Which of course Esau puts in this high regard, and he was the Amalekite. So yeah, the law of conservation of energy states that the total energy of an isolated system remains constant. It is said to be conserved over time. In the case of a closed system, the principle says that the total amount of energy within the system can only be changed through energy entering or leaving the system. So basically, yeah, the law of conservation of energy. And then now, which was, I think it was actually set up by Einstein. This is the calculation right here. Which is basically that the initial kinetic energy and the initial potential energy is equal to the sum of each other, right? So that's basically it. And I think it was actually Einstein that found it. Okay, Julius Robert Mayer. Okay, this is who created the law of conservation of energy. Okay, Julius Robert Mayer. Right. So where does Einstein come in? Let me just simply do this. Either he found it or he proved it. Okay, here it is. The law of conservation of energy, as established by physicists before Einstein, states that energy can be neither created nor destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. Einstein's work in special relativity, particularly his famous equation E equals mc squared, demonstrated a deeper connection between energy and mass, showing they are interchangeable and not just separate entities. This equation expanded the law to include the concept of mass energy equivalence, meaning that mass can be converted to energy and vice versa. Right. So then what you now find out is, and I've forgotten. Okay. Yeah, so although you now find out that, well, energy isn't actually conserved and you can lose energy, and I believe it was a certain woman that proved that. Let's see if I can find this. Here it is. Let me just check it on the YouTube. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Alright, let me go to that. Let me go to that. So let's get that. Um, Verita. See, here it is. And this is it right here, right? So let's go back to this article right here. So it shows, so this is what the AI overview says: the law of conservation of energy has not been disproven, right? So you can clearly see it right there. Well, the law of conservation of energy has not been disproven, right? And you see even in physics forums, they are asking the same question: can a physicist ever disprove the law of conservation of energy? And let's go to the Quora. Is the law of conservation of energy false, right? Because this is something that you have been taught in, your secondary school physics, that energy can either be created or destroyed, but only converted from one form to another, right? Energy stays, in the same state, okay? And the total amount of energy in a body is constant. Let's get this right. Oh, not now. Never mind. Never mind. The Quora is just doing anyhow. Let's play a little bit of this video. Just to see what I'm
Today,
talking about.
understanding and deriving meaningful insights from data is fast becoming the most needed skill in the business.
Imagine you are an astronaut drifting in deep space. When you throw a rock as hard as you can, what's going to happen to that rock? Well, you would think that it would continue with constant velocity in a straight line. That's just Newton's first law. But what actually happens is it eventually slows down and stops. So why does this happen? Where did all the rock's energy go? At the turn of the 20th century, the problem of energy conservation baffled some of the greatest minds, including Albert Einstein. Einstein came up with a possible solution. But then, a little-known unpaid mathematician named Emmy Noether proved he was wrong. And in doing so, she created a whole new paradigm for physics, one that underlies all of particle physics and explains why anything is conserved. It all started in 1915 at the University of Göttingen, where Einstein was giving 6 lectures on his new theory of gravity, what would become the general theory of relativity. The lectures were well received, but Einstein hadn't yet settled on the final form of the field equations. One problem he was facing was how to show that total energy was conserved in his new theory.
This is the whole beginning of this story, right? Classically, they thought they had this understanding of what the energy of the gravitational field was. All of a sudden, with these new equations, they go, where is it? Is it in the curvature? Is it in the stress energy potential? Where is the term that we're looking for?
Einstein suggested that the principle of conservation of energy, long established as a bedrock of physics, might hold the key to working out the correct field equations. In the audience, legendary mathematician David Hilbert was intrigued. So he started to look for the energy conservation equations in Einstein's new theory. But the best he could find was a set of equations known as the Bianchi identities. They showed that energy was conserved, but only in a completely empty universe. So for one like ours filled with stuff, they seemed useless. Hilbert was stumped.
Fortunately, he knew just the person for the job. His new assistant, Emmy Noether.
From an early age, Noether had dreamed of following in the footsteps of her father, a mathematics professor at the University of Erlangen.
That's just basically it. I don't want to play the whole video just to get a little bit of information, but basically the idea is that the law that energy is not conserved, and energy is not conserved in a body. So this let's go back to that. Let's go back to that, right? So this law, right? This where is that formula? Where's that formula? Hold on, let me go back to this. Where's that formula? Where's that formula? Wait, where did I click on that? You know what? I'll just do this instead. Okay. So yeah, here it is. So that means that this formula is actually incorrect, okay? Because the energy of a body is not constant. So the initial kinetic energy will be different from the final kinetic energy, and the initial potential energy will be different from the final potential energy. And it also means that they will not be equal to each other, okay? And this is the kind of narrative that you get with ESO science, where you have basically what is the established understanding or the established law is not actually the same as what the actual physicists and the actual quote unquote scientists are using in order to make their discovery, right? And I put that in air quotes, okay? And basically the idea is that this is the idea of this video, man. There is no wisdom in this kingdom, because the actual understanding, right, the science that is being pushed in this kingdom makes no sense, okay? Because on one hand you have one scientist or one physicist or biologist or chemist or whatever branch of science you want to say. They'll say one thing, and then on the other hand you now have another one say something else. So Einstein will say, all these different physicists will say, well, yeah, energy is conserved completely in the universe, right, in a body, right? And then you have this Amy Noether woman that will come out and say, well, actually it's not conserved, and I can prove it, via a mathematical equation and all this. And that is what you get in ESO's system, right? And it's going back to that game I was talking about. So I actually went into the community because I wanted to see what people were saying about the black beacon, right? And see if anybody would bring out the scriptures, because that's initially the reason why I was interested in the game. Because the game started by talking about, the Tower of Babel, right? The beacon activated at the tower, basically Tower of Babel at the library that was in the Tower of Babel. Okay, so the game was mainly about initially about investigating the reason why the Tower of Babel was created, okay, and then now moved on to, well, yeah, we already know the reason, right? It was created to hide an anomaly or something that was creating a infinite library in the tower. So the Tower of Babel, so the Tower of Babel myth that you get in the scriptures, which of course is not a myth, but it's something that actually happened. But in game, they say, oh well, it's a myth. Well, the story is real, but the myth surrounding it is a different myth, right? But what the game says about the Tower of Babel isn't important, because that this is a Chinese developed game. So you already know that Moab is out of it, okay? But the important thing is not the game itself, okay, but rather the community surrounding the game. And from my little interaction with them, you now realize that nobody actually has any understanding, not of history, not of the scriptures, not of science, not of anything, right? And it's just pure confusion and chaos out here in the world when it comes to wisdom. All right, this is basically what the wisdom of this world is, okay? Basically just confusion and chaos, because nobody knows what they're talking about, and everybody's just saying one thing or the other, okay? Let me get these precepts real quick. So I'll start from here. It should be up here. So First Corinthians 1 verse 19, and it reads, For it is written, no, let me start from the top. First Corinthians 1 verse 18, For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved it is the power of the Most High, Yahweh Sham Yahushai. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, I will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Hath not the Most High, Yahweh Sham Yahushai, made foolish the wisdom of this world? And that's right, man. The only actual wisdom, the only true wisdom that exists is the wisdom that's from the scriptures, okay? Because if you try to go into the wisdom of this world, you just live with constant questions and constant confusion, constant contradiction, because one person will say one thing, another person will say one thing. Everybody is just disagreeing with each other on ideas, man. Even when it comes to this world's understanding of the scriptures, right? So either your theology and your seminary situation, right? The seminary schools and so on. There is still confusion in that as well, because the theologists, and because the theologians always disagree on doctrine, or what this part of the scripture means, or what this part of the scripture is talking about, or on various parts of the scriptures, right? And the seminarians and the cemetery people as well disagree on all different things. That's why you have all these different denominations of Wakitaki plantation Christianity, man. But alas, right, the understanding of the scriptures is on the earth, and the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has raised his servants to give you the true understanding, the true knowledge of the scriptures, because none of these other denominations or religious groups or of all these various other ideologies can say they have the 100% truth, or even go as far as to say that they have a book of prophecy, right, as we do in the scriptures. Because hey, what happens when a global event happens? Everybody is running to the scriptures to see where in the scriptures this event plays out. What part of Bible prophecy is this fulfilling, right? Because they understand the power that is in the scriptures, and intrinsically, man, these people know out here know. These people out here know, okay? They know the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is real. They know that the scriptures is a prophetic book, and it's more than just the white man's book, right? Or a book of fairy tales. They know, okay? But you see, the spirit just isn't dealing with them, so they can never make that connection, and they can't just reconcile with that fact. So that's why you see so much confusion on the earth, okay? But let's keep going. First Corinthians 1 verse 19, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and will bring nothing to the understanding of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Hath the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, hath not the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai made foolish the wisdom of this world, right? And what you find, and all of the years that Esau has spent, all these scientific experiments, all these quote unquote advancements in science, it's all going to be for nothing, because guess what? The earth, okay, let's get that precept, right? Because not only are the fashions of this world going to pass away, including this madness, right? This pseudoscience, right? That you Edomites, you devils call science. So let's get that first. This madness that you devils call wisdom. This madness you devils call science.
And choose a driver who accepted
So let's get this precept right now. First Corinthians 7, and I'll start from verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that we hold on.
And choose a driver who accepted your right price proposal.
Let me go to it here, because that KJV is making noise with the adverts. So let's get it here instead. First Corinthians 7, and I'll start from 20.
Right at a fair price with King Drive.
Where is the letter? Right, First Corinthians 7. Verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoiced not, and they that buy as though they possess not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashions of this world passeth away. Right, and this kingdom is going to be destroyed, including all these advancements in science and technology, and all these pseudo-scientific discoveries that Esau Edom has made. Right? Do you think we're going to be using Esau's science or Esau's math or Esau's biology or anything that Esau, has created, or any scientific discovery that he has made in the kingdom? Of course not, okay? Science, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, okay, because these are all the same thing. If you go into the etymology of the word science, it goes back to the Latin word scientia, which means to know. all these things will be changed in the kingdom, and it will be perfected. We'll have a true understanding of science, not this wicked ass backward ass understanding that Esau is pushing out here. So this is the book of Second Peter 3, and I'll jump to the main point, right? Here it is. The earth and all the works therein shall be burned up. Here it is. Second Peter 3 verse 10. But the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Right, so let's go back to First Corinthians, the first chapter. Because this kingdom is going to pass away and be destroyed, and that also all the knowledge of wickedness that exists in this kingdom, including the wicked ass science. So let's keep going. So now, First Corinthians 1 verse 20. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Hath not the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, made foolish the wisdom of this world? For after that, in the wisdom of the Most High, the world by wisdom knew not the Most High. It pleased the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. Right? Because the wisdom that is pushed in this world, right? The science, right? The understanding that is pushed in this kingdom is against the understanding and the wisdom of the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right? And also against teaching wisdom according to the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And that's why, you see the fool say in his heart there is no God in this kingdom, and that's why you see that the idea of atheism, right, unbelief in this kingdom is so great that, well, they will say there is no Most High, they will say that there is no power, that the universe is this and that, okay, self-created, self-thought and all that, even though they can't even show any of that, right, according to Esau science. It just shows you, man, that these devils, but like I said, it just shows you these devils don't know what they are doing out here, okay? Esau, even with the wisdom that Esau has been given by the Most High, he is still a devil, okay, and he's still foolish, because as the scripture say, wisdom in wickedness is not true wisdom. And that's why you see that the men of the Lord are able to so easily outmaneuver, right? So easily break down the scriptures and ultimately, confound any scoffer or any boggart or any mocker that tries to come against this truth. And that's why, if you are in this truth, all the scoffers, all the boggarts, all the mockers, and all those that are outside the truth or against this truth sound so stupid, okay? And this isn't arrogance or bragging, it's just something that is self-evident. So let's get that. Hold on, let me go into the
Right at a fair price with Invite every day.
and I'm worried that if I
everywhere.
reduce this volume now, my audio will go out. But let's get this. Here it is. So this is the book of Ecclesiasticus. Right, so this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 19 verse 22. Ecclesiasticus 19 verse 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. Right, and the knowledge that Esau pushes in this kingdom, right? The science, the technology, the discoveries, and all that, the advancements, this is not wisdom, and this is not true wisdom. And it's something I've been meditating on for a while, but yeah, this kingdom is backwards as hell, okay? Because, hey, if we were in righteousness and if it was Jake that was in rulership, we would have had those flying cars that you always see in all these futuristic videos, right? We would have had the flying cars, right? We would have had the we'll have all those things will exist in the kingdom, and that's when you will see true science, right? True advancement, true technology exist on the earth, right? So with that, I'll end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh Ba'asham Yawashai, Ba'asham Raka Kwadash, Wa Abad Baba, Shalawam.